Two Worlds, One Family by Dragon Translator. Chapter 58. He Needs to Know. Brynja waited upon the docks alongside Gobber. He watched as several nadders, nightmares and zipplepacks that aided the fishermen and women make a game of using their wings to speed Stoic's ship into the harbour. Brynja did not know if they were being playful or showing off for Hiccup's father. Either way, a trip that would have taken the better part of an hour by rowing, half that with a sail full of wind not produced by a dragon, took mere moments. The dragon stopped when the ship neared the land, flying off to several sea stacks dotting the waves. Stoic's helmsman eased the ship into port. Ropes were thrown and tied off. The gangplank slid across and was held down by Mulch and Bucket as Stoic stepped across. The chief looked around, a frown upon his face.
"Where's Hiccup?"
"There, Gothus," Gobber said. Stoic's eyes widened. Brynja slapped Gobber's arm with the back of his hand. Leave it to the crazy blacksmith to pause at that moment.
"He's fine, Chief,"
Brynja said.
"A terror got stomped on by a nadder, and Hiccup is up there with Gothi tending to it."
"Ah,
okay,"
Stoic said, visibly relaxing. He then glanced at the two men.
"How did he do?"
"Boys are born, Chief," Mulch said as he and Bucket helped two warriors that had went along as backup in case the meeting turned sour off the ship, and then began helping the helmsman secure the vessel. Stoic looked at them, then back to Gobber and Brynja. Brynja smiled and tipped his head. "Told you the lad would be chief material," Gobber said, smirking. Stoic grunted. Brynja straightened to his full height and noticed Stoic regard him warily. Brynja was undeterred. Hiccup's actions and mannerisms in his yard not even an hour ago worried the woodcutter. The lad had come out of an induced sleep, and while some things served to throw him, had proven just how much of a Viking warrior he truly was. He had shown everyone that he was every inch a hairy hooligan and the son of Stoic the Vast. Gyda's appearance and the return of memories only served to pound into Brynja's head just how wrong he had been. It had not been pleasant nor thrilling to eat his own words, or see how much of a blind fool he had been. But let it never be said that Brynja Hofferson did not pay his debts. Hiccup and Toothless may have saved everyone's lives by destroying that monster, but they had personally stopped Astrid from falling to her death. Brynja would never forget the terror that gripped him as his firstborn, his only daughter, plummeted to that unforgiving rocky shore. He would also not forget the elation as a black blur streaked through the air and his daughter was set gently upon her feet by a dragon he had aided in tethering to the chief's ship just hours before. Brynja would speak with his chief on Hiccup's behalf, as he and many others should have done years ago. What he had heard in that cove, and what he had seen in his own yard, needed to be addressed. Brynja would see to that. It was only a drop in the ocean lapping at their shores, against the debt he owed Hiccup.
"Chief, I know you have to speak with Hiccup and learn all that has happened. But I need to speak to you before that. In private, please."
Stoic stared at him, but Brynja never moved, and did not flinch or back down.
"We can speak in my house," Stoic said. "I want to drop this basket off and sit in a chair that's not moving up and down."
Brynja nodded, and they headed up the walkways. Brynja was silent on the way, gathering his thoughts and deciding how he would say what needed to be said. Stoic cordially greeted people as they passed through the plaza and trudged up the hill to the chief's house. Once inside, Brynja whirled upon his chief. He saw Stoic tense and reach for the axe holstered at his belt. Brynja's eyes narrowed.
"You are my chief, and I will fight to my dying breath to protect you," he began, "and I know it cannot be easy with your wife gone. The gods know I would not fare half as well, were it my Edis taken. But how can you let Hiccup think anything was wrong with him?
Stoic blinked as he eased out of the defensive stance he fell into.
Excuse me,
the chief asked, sounding angry. Brynja only cared due to his family's long-standing loyalty to their chief. That same loyalty made Brynja continue. Hiccup would be chief when the gods took Stoic to Valhalla. Hiccup would also be his son-in-law one day, and Hoverson did not back down when defending a family member.
I heard your son, Chief,
Brynja said, arms crossed over his chest.
He and my daughter went to that cove of his. I was out there checking the trees in the area and heard the dragons. I walked to the rim and heard him. He told you taught him what he was supposed to do after a wedding, but apparently you failed to explain to him what he would feel. I gather he's fallen in love with my girl, and he doesn't know it, because he has no clue what that means. He thinks something is wrong with him just for wanting to kiss her neck.
Stoic froze, and then groaned. Brynja watched him walk slowly past the banked fire and sit down heavily in the bigger of the two chairs in the room. Brynja blinked. The chief needed more furniture, especially when Astrid moved in after she and Hiccup married in time.
I see,
Stoic said, finally.
Back then, I didn't think...
He stopped and Brynja's eyes narrowed. He did not need the chief telling him what he thought back then. Brynja remembered every day what the chief's thoughts about his son had done to the rest of the tribe. How most, if not all, took their cues from Stoic, and none dared to think that casting Hiccup to the side was wrong.
I also remembered Valka,
Stoic said softly. Brynja sighed, closing his eyes. He could only imagine the pain that caused.
I understand, Chief, he said slowly, but Hiccup needs to know. I think his belief is weighing on him, even though he's acting like we're back there before Toothless.
Brynja opened his eyes as he continued.
Just earlier, in my own yard, he suggested we mix stone with wood to build bigger houses, and thus save wood, and immediately thought we would dismiss it out of hand. And he must have also thought we blamed him for the cave-in, as they looked for Hamish II's treasure with how fast he defended himself after bringing up the stones in the fireworm's cave.
Stoic sighed again, eyes closing.
I will tell him,
he whispered, placing a hand that shook slightly against his forehead.
I will tell him everything.
Hiccup hissed, reading the runes Gothi etched into the dirt on her house's wrap around the walkway.
Will he pull through, Gothi?
Hiccup asked. The elder tilted her head and then etched something more into the dirt. Hiccup sighed.
We all pray the gods let him,
he asked. Brother? Sharpshot asked. All of the terrors from the glen sat in various places along the walkway, having followed Hiccup and Toothless. Sharpshot sat beside Hiccup's boot. The red female sat beside Sharpshot. Sage sat next to her. The orange male that Sage had sent to get Hiccup the moment the Purple Terror issued the challenge kept an eye upon the Purple Terror's flock members. The other terrors of the nest aided him. That many dragons, along with Hiccup and Gothi, served to keep Toothless on the mountain path just behind Gothi's. A spot Hiccup knew irked his brother. He looked down at Sharpshot and sighed.
I know, he said. That male's actions were wrong, even in Viking society, and I'm not making light of that. But no one deserves to be stomped like that.
Sharpshot tilted his head. But he tried to flame you.
He was mad, Hiccup said. It was still wrong, but I understand why he did it. He will answer for it when he recovers. Just because he wished to be a jerk does not mean I should.
Sharpshot shared a glance with the female before looking at Hiccup and tilting their heads at the same time and in the exact same direction. Hiccup could not help but smile at them. Before anyone could say anything more, Stormfly, with Astrid aboard and Windwalker following, came to a hovering stop just beyond Gothi's walkway. So? Astrid asked. Hiccup sighed. Gothi has put him into the same sleep I was in. She thinks a bone broke and damaged something in him. He's in the gods' hand right now. Astrid grimaced. Stormfly and Windwalker chittered. Windwalker's head tilted. Alpha, I think your father is below and trying to get your attention. Hiccup moved to the edge and looked down. His father stared up from in front of their house and waved in a manner that meant he wanted them to come down. Hiccup looked back to Gothi. She nodded her head, moving to sit on the stool Hiccup had vacated. Hiccup smiled. Thank you, Gothi, he said. He moved to the mountain path, mounting Toothless. Sharpshot climbed onto his back. Hiccup looked down at the female, who had followed, and smiled. Hop up here in front of me, he said. You'll be our sister-in-law soon anyway. Sharpshot chittered. Hiccup laughed. Not much fun when you have to eat your own words. Ah, brother, he said, tilting his head. Sharpshot snorted. The female blinked, but hopped up Toothless's saddle in front of Hiccup. He bracketed her with his arms as he gripped the handles on Toothless's saddle. Toothless's wings flared and he bounced into the air, banking around to meet up with Stormfly and Windwalker. The dragons then began a lazy descent to the bottom of the mountain. As they wound down, Hiccup looked at the female. Astrid said she's taken to calling you Sneaky. He began. The female chittered, looking up at him. Sneaky? Hiccup chuckled. She says it's because you always appear out of nowhere, with some reason to be around Sharpshot. Is that my name now? Do you want it to be? Hiccup asked. I'm not going to give you a name you don't like. The female was silent for a few of Toothless's wing beats, and they almost got to the ground before she spoke again. I like it. I would be honoured to have the name your intended chose, Alpha. Hiccup swallowed his sigh. He got the feeling the dragons were liking whatever name he said first, just because they believed him to be their Alpha. He would have to ask Toothless later if there was a way to let the dragons know they could refuse a name they did not like. They did not have to immediately latch upon his first choice. It was their name, not his. They had the right to the one they wanted, not the one they thought he wanted. They landed, and Sneaky hopped down. Sharpshot dropped to sit next to her, as Hiccup moved to stand in front of his father. Welcome home, Dad. How was the trip? Stoic placed a hand upon Hiccup's shoulder. Hiccup frowned. His father had a sheen in his eyes Hiccup had never seen before upon his father's face. He had seen it in Astrid's eyes that day in the cove, though, and Hiccup felt his heart fall. His father had tears in his eyes. What could make his father cry? Go get some things for a fishing trip, son, Stoic said softly. We need to talk. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed this one. So, Sneaky's got her name. I love that the other Vikings are saying that Hiccup's a born chief. Love it. And also Brynja standing up for his future son-in-law. Oh god. This whole found family thing. Can you guys see why I love it so much? And in a later chapter, quite a bit later in one of the sequels, Edith says that she sees Hiccup as her boy already, regardless of whether or not he's married to Astrid. And I think Brynja's got the same thing going here. And that bit at the end about dragons' names, I love that idea. It's very much like Cinderella. You know, like how Cinderella's not her real name, but like she has to answer to it. It's the flip of that, and I love that. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care. Bye.